Do you remember life before the internet and still feel fluent in it today? That strange in-between feeling isn't random. It's the Xennial experience, the generation born between 1976 and 1985, raised in an analog childhood and launched into a digital adulthood. So what makes Xennials different from both Gen X and Millennials? Why do they often feel like they don't fully belong to either group? The answer lies in timing. They grew up with cassette tapes, printed maps, and long afternoons outdoors. Then, just as they entered adulthood, email, mobile phones, and social media reshaped the world. How does a mind adapt when the rules change mid-journey? It learns stability first, and then reinvention. Xennials developed their early sense of self in slower, more predictable environments. Later, they had to upgrade their skills, careers, and communication styles almost overnight. Isn't that bound to shape how they see themselves? Let's start with identity formation, the psychological process of discovering who you are, what you value, and how you fit into society. For Xennials, identity formation happened in two distinct phases. Childhood identities were grounded in physical spaces and real-time interactions. There were clear boundaries between school, home, and work. But adulthood arrived with digital profiles, online networking, and evolving job markets. What happens when your adult identity must constantly adapt to new tools and expectations? It builds flexibility, but it can also create subtle stress. That stress has a name: digital adaptation stress. The human brain prefers familiar patterns, yet Xennials had to repeatedly update those patterns. New software, new communication norms, new career demands. They weren't born into digital fluency, they had to acquire it. Does that create pressure? Yes, but it also builds cognitive resilience. They became comfortable learning, comfortable troubleshooting, comfortable bridging gaps between old systems and new ones. Then there's dual nostalgia. Why do so many Xennials feel emotional about both pre-internet life and the early days of the web? Because both eras shaped them. They remember boredom before smartphones and the creativity it sparked. They also remember the excitement of logging online for the first time. Dual nostalgia creates emotional depth. It allows them to appreciate simplicity while embracing innovation. Isn't that a rare psychological blend? Another key theme is boundaries. Xennials grew up when work stayed at the office and home was offline. Then smartphones blurred those lines. Emails followed them into evenings. Notifications interrupted weekends. What does that do to attention and energy? It creates a heightened awareness of burnout. Many Xennials value work-life balance not as a trend, but as a necessity. They know what it feels like to lose separation, and they crave it back. Socially, they are translators. They can explain technology to older generations while understanding the digital instincts of younger ones. They value face-to-face conversation, but can navigate multiple apps. They respect privacy, yet understand the power of visibility. Isn't that emotional bilingualism, the ability to hold two social languages at once? All of this builds a quiet strength. Xennials are adaptable without being reckless, nostalgic without being stuck, technologically capable without being consumed. They learned patience before speed. That foundation changes everything. So what does this mean for you now? First, recognize that feeling in between is not confusion, it's integration. You carry two operating systems in one mind. That's not weakness, it's range. Second, design your life intentionally. Ask yourself, where do I need analog calm? Where does digital efficiency truly serve me? Create small rituals that reconnect you to slower rhythms, a walk without your phone, a handwritten note, a focused conversation without distractions. Then use technology consciously, not automatically. The world is accelerating, but you remember what slower feels like. The world is louder, but you remember silence. Maybe that memory is your advantage. So instead of asking where you belong, ask a better question. How can I use both worlds wisely? Because you are not divided between eras. You are the bridge between them. And bridges are built to carry others forward.